What up, Scoop family? Glad to see everybody in the chat tonight. It is getting close. It's getting close to that day, man, that Washington game. I'm excited. My flight leaves tomorrow. Stoked to be there, but I'm glad to see everybody in the chat. Liz, Charlie, you guys been in there chatting back and forth. Linda, Jackson, nice to see everybody in there. Don't forget to hit that like button before we get going here. Hit the subscribe button as well. And the super chats are open. I missed a couple yesterday on the show. So, Doodah Man, thank you for the 50. He said for the cause. I appreciate that, brother. And Chris Lane took a shot at Steely. Thanks for the $2. He said Steely cannot count. So, we appreciate that super chat. Before we get into the game plan for the show tonight, I first got to check with my man Nevada. How you doing tonight, brother?
I'm doing great. Team's on their way to Washington, so they're going in advance of you getting there tomorrow. They'll probably be at the airport waiting for you when you get in tomorrow. So just look for the
Good.
group of 105 guys all dressed the
Yeah.
same way, and jump on the buses with them, and you'll be okay.
Yeah. I was talking today, and he said he'd wait for me till my plane
Nice,
landed, him and the team. So it was good.
nice,
Yeah,
nice.
it was good.
Great.
So should be a good time, man. No, going with the family, excited to get there, man. So tonight, gonna go over a few things. Player availability. Are there any players injured? We got to be able to see everybody for the game on Saturday. And we're going to brief overview of schematic changes, the game plan that we've heard about for Washington. Is it going to work? We'll go over those details again. And then we got some fun, bold predictions to get to. So we'll try to get to those pretty quickly because made the decision to do 10 bold predictions today, 5 on the offense and 5 on the defense. So let's dive right into it, Nevada. Obviously, Lorenzo Styles got a little injured in the Ohio game, but Day recently came out and said they expect him to play, be at full capacity. He's been practicing. Edric, injured preseason, but it's been playing, maybe not to his full potential. Some people wondering if that injury is still affecting him. And Kenyatta Jackson with the brace on his knee. That's all I've heard about. I don't hear of anybody being out. Anything you got to add to the injuries, Nevada, or is there anything concerning you? Or are you expecting a healthy roster tomorrow or on Saturday?
I mean, we're about as healthy as Ohio State's ever been, going into week 4, or yeah, this is week 4. Yep. Yeah. So no, I think that about nailed it. We'd heard about the Lorenzo Styles thing. They kind of confirmed it. Um, Edric's battling consistency right now, and is that post injury related? Is that whatever it is? I think he's had a very good week of practice, and I think that I have a sneaking suspicion that he may have a good game on Saturday as well. So no, I think and the Kenyatta thing, that nothing serious. So yeah, no, as far as Ohio State's concerned about itself, now Washington can't say the same thing. Washington's missing some key guys, and so from the injury standpoint, you got to go advantage Buckeyes, and certainly not an excuse on anything because we're about as healthy as you could possibly hope to be.
Yeah, Washington at first, we heard one of their corners was dinged up, might not play, but starting to hear that he's going to play, but he's probably a little dinged up, one of their 6'3 corners. And then one of their pretty heavily relied on linebackers, I'm hearing don't have much depth there, but he's for sure out. So you're right. Shout out to the Buckeyes, knock on wood. That's also a part of this college football game, Nevada, is keeping your players healthy, understanding this is a long season, utilize them when you need to, rest them when you don't, and practice a certain way. NFL's big on that. And you look around the country, you see some injuries, and normally the Buckeyes fare pretty well in that category. So that's good to see as well. So, yeah, excited to see what we can do. And I think, Edric off to a little bit of a rough start, but, he played better last year than he's played so far. So we know he has it in him. But Vada, you and B Moses did a couple shows. The helping technician on the Scoop board dropped some offensive game plans, some defensive game plans. The offensively talked about tempo, the silent count, wanting to do the run game, establish the run game, and route trees that are deeper. When we talk about that offensive game plan, do you feel confident about that? And which one of those things are you going to be focused in on here and you think is going to make the biggest impact offensively for the Buckeyes this game?
Well, I mean, the biggest question mark that I have is can we establish run game consistency? And I think, part of that's running back related, the whole Bo Jackson versus CJ Donaldson versus James Peoples discussion. And part of it's, scheme and performance of the guys up front related. So, I've got questions about that in terms of how they do it. I think Ohio State expects a blitz heavy package from Washington. They're going to be blitz heavy, playing man behind it. And they hope to exploit that. They hope to be able to use their aggression against them in the screen game, in the counter game, in the misdirection game. So I think that, Ohio State's been preparing it that way. Let's see how Brian Hartline calls it up. But, for me, my concerns are going to be, do we not just try to jam a running back up the middle and, in some sort of, feats of strength, like a Festivus celebration or something like that, where we're trying to do that. I'm hoping that is not the case. I don't think that's what they'll do. Um, I felt we did that a little bit against Texas. Wasn't really pleased with that part of the game plan. But if they run the stuff that they've been practicing, I think we're all going to be very happy with the way that we're approaching the running game. But that's my one concern. But the running game is the thing that I'm going to be watching: is creativity in the running game, activating the quarterback in the running game, utilizing misdirection and over pursuits and other things in the running game. That's really going to be one of my focuses, because I know the passing game is going to be there, um, but I think the running game is going to help set everything else up from where we go.
Yeah. I'm glad you brought this up, man, because, when I first started YouTubing and diving in, trying to be smarter about the game of football, I kept hearing you got to be able to establish the run game to open up the pass. Establish the run, establish the run. That's number one. And we know from past that Ryan Day, you know, last year, I don't even need to say it. We know when we saw him do it. He's done that in the past where he just wants to establish this toughness. He gets this idea in his mind and he gets stuck there and he's like, man, we got to establish the run, establish the run. Well, I mean, our best room on this team is our wide receiver room. We have the top two wide receivers in the nation. We have the most accurate quarterback in the nation. And then last year, on top of that, you saw what we did in the playoffs. Why do you think we rushed the ball well in the playoffs? Because we had the deep threat. We were throwing the ball all over the field. We opened up the Rose Bowl with that tight end screen for a 25-yard gain. I mean, that laxes the defense quite a bit for you to be able to get some holes, easier for the O line to open up this run game. So, man, that's a great point. That's something I'm going to have to agree with you. I'm looking at that, hoping that, hey, like, number one, is it really you gotta be able to run the ball to open up the pass? Sometimes can that switch? Can we pass the ball to open up the run? What are your thoughts there before we move on to the defense?
Well, no, I think we saw last year in that run to the playoffs that you can absolutely pass to establish the run. And a lot of teams do that. And I think for Ryan, I think it's been part of kind of his evolution as a head coach, evolution as a play caller, um, is getting beyond that. And I think Ryan, this is just my perception. I think he was a little insecure about the soft moniker, about people question about not winning the rushing battles and things like that. And I think he set out to prove a point sometimes. And I think it's unnecessary. And I'm hoping that this version of Ryan Day, the national championship pantheon of great coaches, Ryan Day, is like, I got nothing to prove. Let's just win the game the surest way. I completely agree with you. We've got a superior pass blocking line. We've got the best wide receiver group in the country, bar none. We've got the most accurate quarterback, and let's utilize that. And for against a team like Washington, I mean Washington's going to do the classic thing. They're going to be run blitzing on first and second down, and they're going to be pass blitzing on third down. I mean, that's what they're going to do. Like, that's what they're going to do. They're going to try to make some big plays, some big hits, some big stops, and really fire the crowd up. So if it gets to 3rd and 1, and you line it up in the full house backfield and run right in the middle of the line, expect there to be a lot of traffic in there. You know what I'm saying? And I know it's fun when we get it, and everybody's like, oh, I love it when we just point to the spot and go, oh, we're going to run right there, and we run right there. I hate that beyond all measure. I hate that. So, like, let's use some creativity. Let's use their aggression against them. Let's run where they ain't, or let's win the surest way. If you're gonna do that, just do the tush push and do the quarterback. You know what I'm saying? Like be
Yeah.
smart about it in terms of like this thing about let's do a slow developing, go back, play, then hand off to the guy up the middle, and then you wonder why they got 9 guys in the backfield. It's like, no, that's what happened. So
Yeah.
I'm hoping and I'm hoping that my frustration does run over in abundance on Saturday.
Yeah. Uh, well, be honest. I feel like we just recently saw that in the Ohio game down in the red zone. I think we saw that a couple times where we're just like, "Yo, bro, why do we just do that again?" Like, I don't understand that, but I understand it is nice when you do it. But when you got the tools and the talent this team has, man, sometimes you just got to do it. Put that freshman Bo Jackson in as well, see what he can do in the red zone. But it's another thing to look out for this game, Nevada, the red zone area. What are we going to do here? This isn't Ohio. We're not playing Ohio. You can't mess around there in the red zone, end up kicking field goals, like we did in the Ohio game. So I'll be paying close attention to that too. But defense, right? Over there on the message board, a couple good things. You and B Moses talked about it. You got Sonny and Caleb, such a loud environment. You're going to have the leaders on defense to communicate to the back players, to the line, to make changes where needed. It's going to be so loud in there. Communication is going to be hard. So it's a big deal for our defense to communicate the right way. The mixed fronts, what Matt Patricia's been doing, that diamond front, it's going to be utilized heavy in this game. Arvell on the line, all defensive ends in. Caden Curry over the nose allows some freedom for the linebacker. The offensive line can't climb up to the linebacker, allows him to be free to follow or shadow the running back or their quarterback that's very mobile as well. And then we got Caleb, right? Can come down in that Sam linebacker position if needed, do a little spying as well. What do you think is most important for these Buckeyes to be able to do on defense for this game?
Well, and just it's contain that quarterback, and I think it's been something that Ohio State's this defense is really built to do that. It's not a classic line up 4 guys and rush the quarterback kind of defense. And I think our defense, if you said what's our biggest strength, I think it's one of our biggest strengths is our ability to compress the pocket. And so I just think as long as you don't let him run wild that means run around, extend plays, get on the edge, break contain, do that, then I think that and I think the Washington offensive line is not very good. I mean the Washington State was regularly beating those guys off off the rip, and I think when that happens, when you played against teams like that, how are you going to do against the Buckeyes? And so I think for just control that quarterback, don't let him go crazy. If you do that, then I think Washington becomes pretty pedestrian on offense. And so, for me, the game's all about Caden Curry and Kenyatta Jackson and Bo Atkinson and K Mac and Edric Houston. And, I mean, those guys have got to control the flow and just compress that pocket, spill that guy out, and then let Caleb and Arvell and Sonny clean it up after they do that.
Yeah, I mean, this Buckeye defense, they've played good running backs. They've played good wide receivers. Washington has a good wide receiver, good running back. They've also played mobile quarterbacks, right? They've also been on the road in big time games last year. There's a lot of experience on this team as well. So I think that this coaching staff also very well experienced, going to prepare these guys to come in here, handle this environment. The environment is where if I have any worries about this game, where my worries come from, but I think the Buckeyes are going to handle this. I have put my money where my mouth is on this game. Don't normally do that, but you know, before we get into bold predictions, Nevada, you brought up something good on the message board I want to talk about. You talked about this line and all these articles out there talking about the line starting at 14 and a half, and now it's down to 7 and a half. And I think it starts to worry a lot of people, and you get this national, the fan base and all that talking about, oh my gosh, the line has moved. That must mean that Vegas sees something. They see that this is going to be hard. And let me tell you something. This has only happened twice in the last 25 years where the number one team is less than a 10-point favorite over an unranked team. It's only happened twice. I think it was Notre Dame and Georgia or something like that. So it doesn't happen very often that the line is like this. Number one team, unranked team. We're at 8.5. So tell us a little bit about that. We'll get into the bold predictions.
Yeah, no, you know, have obviously spent a lot of time looking at the betting lines and talking to the people and really talking to the guys that literally set the lines, and they were kind of laughing because I kept seeing these articles talking about how the line opened at 14, the line opened at 13 and a half, and it's moved all the way down. And I mean, that's like a really popular take on the internet right now. There's 11 Warriors articles on it and all these articles, and it's completely wrong. I mean, Circa, when you talk to the guys at Circa opened the line at 9. They've got it 8.5 right now. And
Yeah.
there's actually a pretty wide spread because Bet Online's got it at 7.5, but it's juiced to -115. Um, Circa literally hasn't moved their line at all. They dipped down a little bit, kind of dipped it back up, and they feel like there's a real strong resistance at 7, where people are going to really jump all over Ohio State if they ever go down that far. So they've kept it pretty hard at 8.5 right now. So um, if that stuff concerns you, if you're concerned about Vegas knowing something or something, I'm here to tell you that the line really hasn't moved, and there's no sharps haven't really taken a position. Pros versus Joes, it's pretty split 50-50. And so it's not like it's public money coming on supporting Ohio State and the sharp supporting Washington. I think that people are looking at the game and kind of going, Washington's won 22 in a row at home. Julian Sain starting his first game on the road as a rookie quarterback, and they think Washington's going to be able to keep one of the top scoring teams in the country is going to be able to keep it within a touchdown. I think that's the simplistic take of the things, and I view it very differently. I view it as I think for Ohio State, I think coming off a bye week, getting this first they went out today. They're really gonna have a chance to kind of bond on this road trip out there tomorrow, get ready for Saturday. And I just don't think Washington's very good. I don't think the game's going to be as close as people think the game's going to be. I don't think the game needs to be as close as the game. And short of Washington's win condition is about 19 things going wrong for Ohio State, and Ohio State's win condition is just don't have 19 things go wrong, and we should come out on on the good end of that. So that's kind of how I'm viewing the game. And I'll come in with my score prediction. I was going to put it on the board tomorrow, but maybe I'll tease it tonight. But this game feels to me like Ohio State winning by 3 touchdowns, that type of thing. And maybe it's close for a little bit, but I don't think it'll be close at the end.
Yeah, I agree with you. About a week and a half, 2 weeks ago, I said my only concern here would be Julian Sain's first start in I think, underrated environment. I'm not sure a lot of people realize the environment that could take place there if Washington is able to stay in the game. But honestly, I did a lot of thinking last night, today, looking at the teams, looking at who they've played and whatnot, and I just think it's Buckeyes by 2 touchdowns or more, fairly easy. I think Washington is legit. They have a legit offense, but Ohio State has a very legit defense. Okay, the issue is that Ohio State also has a really good offense, and Washington just does not have a very good defense. We went over that last night on the show. BMOS and Nevada have as well. But to the fun part of the show, it's time for the bold predictions, Nevada. Listen, I got to tell you how I do my bold predictions because I catch heat for it sometimes. I get told mine aren't very bold. Now, how I do mine are mine are like realistic. If everything goes perfect, really, really good, I think my predictions I'm about to make are actually doable. Now, are all of them doable at the same time? I'm not sure. But so that's how I do mine. How do you do yours? Are yours like super bold, almost unrealistic, or he doesn't want to do them? Nevada decided, hey, I'm not doing your bold predictions, Devin. I don't like the way that you do yours, and I'm not for it. So he left me here hanging. But I think he's going to pop back in. Here he is. He didn't like what I had to say. Nevada, you can just tell me if you don't like the way I do bold predictions. We can change. You don't
No,
have to leave the show.
I'm mad at you for telling me you shot 1 over par today in golf, and I'm just like 1 over par. Like 73? Like was that on the front nine, or
Yeah.
what was that? Did you play all 18 holes, or what did you do? So yeah, I'm mad. I can't get over that there, D.
Yeah. I feel like you might not believe me, but that's okay. I've been
Oh
golfing
no,
my whole life. I
I
told
I
you,
I
you know,
I totally believe you.
yeah,
I'm envious. I'm envious
yeah,
as heck that somebody's got a swing that sweet. I totally,
yeah,
Dev, when you tell me things, I don't doubt that for a second. I
yeah.
just I hate you for it, but I do believe you.
Well, the strength of my game is my drive. I drive at average about I fly at about 300 every time I hit the drive. So
Wow.
that's it. But dude, I'm telling you, mentally I'm not there yet. I told you Tuesday I golfed 19 over in a tournament. Okay? And then today I played with those same people and was lighting it up. 2 over after 9 and then ended up 1 under on the back. So dude, I'm so wishy-washy. Sometimes I show up, I'm good. Sometimes I'm 19 over. So but 19 over is the worst I've ever played in 2 years. I will say that. That was bad. I love golf, bro. But anyway, we got to get into this, Nevada. We're going to be here all night. I chose 10. That's a lot. And we're not going to be able to just fly through them like we are. So, Nevada, you start this off. Pick offense, pick defense, whatever one. We'll stay there till we get them all done, and we'll move on to offense, defense, whatever one you didn't do. So
I'm
let's
gonna go.
hear.
I'm gonna start on offense, and I'm gonna go with Max Clare is gonna catch 2 touchdown passes on Saturday. Max Clare for 2 TDs.
Okay. So it sounds like you do your bold predictions kind of like I do. They're realistic. They're at the top end of, hey, things are going good, right?
Well, if I expect things to go good, if I expect things to go bad, they could be at the low end of things to go bad. You know what I'm saying?
Uh,
It's kind of like you going, "Hey, I shot 73 today. That's going good." Otherwise, I shot
yeah,
91. That's playing bad. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, no, it all depends on the
yeah.
circumstances.
Feel like that's not going to be the last reference to the 1 over I shot, but that's fine. That's fine. That is perfectly fine. I like that. Max Clare hasn't showed up like we know he can, so definitely can be there. I have Julian Sand with 4 touchdowns and 300 yards. So far in the season, he's got 779 yards with 8 touchdowns. He did that for the Grambling game, threw for 306, 4 touchdowns. So I got him 300 yards, 4 TDs. What say you,
Oh,
Nevada?
wow. I've got Bo Jackson with over 100 yards and two touchdowns. So I'm going Bo Jackson and Max Clare are two of my key performers, based upon what I'm hearing. I got a strong inkling that those guys are going to have good games for Ohio State. So I'm going to go Max Clare with two, Bo Jackson with two.
Okay. I figured we would overlap in some places, so I'll go ahead and get my Bo Jackson one out of the way. I also have him over 100 yards, but I only have him scoring 1 touchdown. Now, Bo Jackson has 217 yards on the season with 1 touchdown, and his last 2 games have been over 100 yards. So I'm not sure the last time we've had a freshman running back go for 3 straight games over 100 yards. Maybe you do, Nevada, but that'd be big time if Bo is able to pull that off. But he's capable of doing it.
Yeah, he's capable. I think they want to ride him, and that doesn't mean that they're gonna. I mean, look, in game flow, if CJ Donaldson or James Peoples is kind of cooking, you could see those guys go because they want to get those guys going. But I just think Bo's different. I think he's got a different level of athleticism, a different level of vision and fast twitch, and I think he's going to be there. But my next one, I'm going to go with JJ Smith, 150 yards receiving, one score. 150 yards receiving for JJ Smith and one score. So I think JJ is going to get the ball early. JJ is going to get the ball often, and JJ will have one score of over 50 yards in the game. One
Mm,
score of over 50 yards in the game.
okay. Well, I as well have a JJ one. Not quite where you're at. I have him going over 100 yards receiving, but with only 1 touchdown. So far on the year, he's got 315 yards receiving, 3 touchdowns. I expect him to add another 100 yards, another touchdown to that. And you'll hear why JJ. I only have JJ getting one in my final 2 bold predictions.
Oh wow. I'm going to say bold. My next bold prediction is that Ohio State throws 3 or more screen passes in the game. 3 or more screen passes in the game. Something that, it is a person. I love the screen pass more than any other play in football. It's my favorite play. When I coach football, it's a big staple in my offense. I love the screen pass. I just think it's so elegant in terms of it accomplishes a number of things in terms of scoring, but it also keeps the defense on its heels. And I love things that put elements of doubt. Ohio State been working on it. Ohio State been drilling it. 3 screen passes in the game on Saturday.
It's funny you say that because last night I was thinking about the game and I was like, I wonder what the very first play Ohio State is going to run. And in my mind, I'm like, I hope it's not a running play. I hope it's a screen play. In my mind, I was seeing them throw it out to JJ on the edge for a screen and him just take off. That's what I had envisioned. We'll see what the Buckeyes come out doing. My fourth one, I got Carnell Tate, also over 100 yards, but he will get 2 touchdowns. And he's got 219 yards, 3 touchdowns on the season so far.
Wow, I like it. I'm going to go as my final projection is that Julian Sane completes over 75% of his passes and over 250 yards passing, and has one turnover in the game. His stat line looks like 75%. So I'll say he's like, 25 for 32, 275 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception. That's my final predicted stat line for Julian Sand.
Okay. That's not a bad day at all. He's averaging 78.9% completion rate so far in the season. So that's about on par. Like I said, I got him having a little more productive of a day with 300 yards or whatnot. But if he's throwing for 75% accuracy, I think it's going to be a good day for the Buckeyes. My final prediction, this one, boy, this is bold, bold, bold. And when you watch the Washington versus Washington State game, you see there was one Washington State position that gave Washington a little bit of trouble, and that was their slot receiver. So I have Brandon Ennis. This is wild. I don't even know if I want to say it, but I have Brandon Ennis catching 5 passes on the game. He's
Wow.
caught 5 passes all season. So
Wow.
that is my most outlandish. That's bold, bold. But we'll see, man. Washington State, that slot receiver did some work on him, so we'll see.
That is bold. You're a bold man there, Devin, but that
Yeah.
is bold. I
Well,
mean, when you said slot receiver, I was like, Mylan Graham's going to catch 5 passes. That's what you said.
yeah. Well, just to remind you, Nevada, I also shoot one over.
You
So it's
did
just
shoot
like,
one over. You did shoot one over today. So you are on a roll and played softball and
yes.
4 home runs in softball from both sides of the plate.
No home runs for Devin today. I got 4 at bats, 2 on base, 2 pop up outs. Not a good day at the plate for
Oh
Devin
no!
here. So
At least you
just
didn't strike out. That'd be embarrassing to strike out in softball. You know what I'm saying?
yeah, slow pitch softball strikeouts are.
They're bad.
I have nightmares about that. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
I did that
anyway,
in college. I was in college and I struck out in slow pitch softball, and and like you understand, I was a baseball player, so I played college baseball, and I struck
whoa,
out.
bro.
I struck out in softball, and it was like the most embarrassing. I still hold the shame of that 40 years later. I still remember that. So yeah, ooh, that at least you
Yeah,
popped it up. Ooh, that's bad.
that's a rough one. Well, I got a
Well,
couple
because
of teammates.
I went 0-2 on like foul balls, and the guy threw like a moon pitch on the third one, and it just came
Went
down on the back of the plate. And I'm like, holy shit! I can't believe that just. Oh, sorry about that. That just happened.
to the
So yeah, that was bad. That was bad.
yeah.
But anyway,
Dude,
but I digress.
so I play in 3 different leagues, and one of the leagues is a pretty good league, very competitive, very serious. There's like money you win at the end of it. So a couple of my buddies on my team for that one have struck out this year. And when you're playing like at that level, it's one of those things I don't even know what to say in the dugout. I kind of just like turn my head and just like, dude, I hope please don't let that be me. Because it happens, bro. You play enough softball, it'll happen to you eventually. I've struck out before in slow pitch softball, but
Not today.
I'm not today. Not today.
Not today.
Yeah, I blame it on I was wore out from golfing on my
One
bad
over
at bats
one,
today.
one over par.
Yeah. Gotta let everybody know. Now we got people in the chat saying, Devin, do you want to play for 100 a hole? Yeah, run it. Let's do it. I played for $50 a hole the other day and I lost $250. But the guy I was playing, I did it on purpose to try to get better because he's a scratch golfer. So I was like, I thought I was going to do good, didn't, tapped out at 250, said, no, you can't have any more of my money. But anyway, on to the defense. I get to go first now, okay?
Yes,
Just
yes, you do.
because, you had that advantage last time. This is pretty bold. Washington's given up a lot of sacks this year so far, 6 total that Washington offensive line has given up, even with a mobile quarterback like that. So that should tell you a little something. I'm going to start with the banger here. I'm going to start with something like my Brandon Ennis one. I'm going to go with CJ Hicks with 2 sacks and a forced fumble. He hasn't blew me away with his play so far, but he also hasn't let me down. He's come in averaging like 15 snaps a game so far, but with this mobile quarterback, CJ being quick, I can see the Buckeyes putting a little bit quicker defensive lineup out there more often this game. We'll see if CJ can show up.
Like it. I guess I could call that a corollary of mine. I'm going to go. Washington's surrendered 6 sacks to date. They're going to surrender 6 sacks on Saturday. They're going to double their sack production on Saturday. It's their offensive line's a little bit porous. They can be pressured. And I think Matty P wants to definitely dial up the pressure, but not necessarily with blitzing. I think they just want to overload sides, twist, stunts, run some different fronts there. But I'm going to say 6 sacks for Ohio State, especially because Washington's going to be behind and passing a lot in the game. And that's going to put them in obvious passing situations. The guys are going to pin their ears back. I got 6 sacks for the Buckeye defense on Saturday.
Nevada, I got to tell you, I feel like we're on to something here on the Scoop channel because we have to get 6 now. Because in my predictions, I have 3 players getting 2 sacks each, which
That would make
equals
sense.
6.
That does
So
make
we're on to
that does.
something here.
Yes, yes,
Yeah,
sir.
yeah. I'm going to go. Caden Curry is going to have 2 sacks this game as well. And also add on 3 hurries to that as well. That diamond front over the nose guard, Washington center is going to have some trouble. Caden Curry has 2 sacks on the season so far.
I like it. I like it. I've got Caleb Downs with a defensive score. Caleb Downs for the defensive score on Saturday.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
I've got my touchdowns. I've kind of got laid out there with JJ, with Bo Jackson, with Max Clare, and with Caleb Downs on the defensive side. I've got Caleb dropping into one of those zones. I think Washington's going to see the overload. They're going to read to one of those hot reads, into the slots, and Caleb's going to drop back, step right inside of that, take it, and walk it back to the house.
Yeah. I like that. Kind of on par here. I have Caleb Downs with an interception in the game and
Oh,
also the leading tackler, right? Based off of what we heard off of the nugget, off of the scoop board, him moving down closer to the line and more of that Sam linebacker position. I expect Caleb Downs to be heavily involved up front in the box as well as around that area. So kind of on par there with those predictions. I like what I'm hearing.
I like it. I've got Davison with 2 defensive pass interference calls during the game. I think they're going to go after Davison. I think Davison is very handsy, very aggressive, and I've got him with 2 defensive pass interference or holding calls in the game. Again, Washington going to be passing it a lot. They like that 6'3" wide receiver. They like putting the ball up there when they've got a matchup against Davison. I would not be surprised to see them throwing him off the rip and Davison hanging on the guy and the crowd talking these officials into some of these calls, especially if you get a guy, if you get Davison lined up against this guy on the Washington sideline, closest to the Washington sideline, they're going to
Mm-hmm.
throw at him. They're going to throw at him every time because they'll throw at him and then they'll all start screaming pass interference and watch the guys get talked to. I'm not that is absolutely a thing. Like, and if you don't know what side you're throwing at, if you're in a big situation and you've got a 3rd and 5 or 3rd and 6, or you've got a play like that, always run it towards your sideline, because you can influence the referees on that stuff. You can get them to, if the call's over there, if it's on the other side, it's on the Ohio State sideline, you're not getting the same screaming and yelling. But that's how Washington should run it. I think he'll get 2 defensive pass interference for holding calls on Saturday, much to my chagrin, but I think it's going to happen.
Well, that upsets me because one of my bold predictions is faith that Iggy did a lot of work in the offseason to be better. So
Oh, wow.
far, I believe he's got called for one, hasn't he? Yeah, he got called for one
Yes.
this year so far. I have Iggy with 3 pass breakups and no penalties.
Wow.
So
That
we're on,
bold.
yeah,
Bold.
yeah,
We're on opposite sides of the spectrum
yeah,
on this one right now. But that's
yeah,
okay. That's
yeah,
okay. I like
yeah.
your side better than mine, to be honest. Let me say, I am rooting for
Let's
Devin
go.
to be right. I am rooting for the D
Yes,
man. Let's go.
the
I
D
don't want to
man.
be I don't want to be right on this one at all. But oh, yeah, well, like you said, sticking with defensive backs, I think that Jalen McClain is going to have an interception as well.
Yeah,
I think he's going to have an interception as well. I think it's going to be a good day for the safeties. I've got Caleb Downs with a pick six. I've got Jalen McClain with the other interception in the game. I don't think it'll be a cornerback. I think it'll be a safety. So Jalen McClain making that other interception against a Washington team that is throwing the ball liberally, as they are far behind and trying to catch back up.
yeah. Well, Nevada, we go from complete opposite ends of the spectrum to on the same spectrum. You see that right there?
That's it.
McLean, 1 interception. So
I,
we, we're the same with the 6 sacks and the interception. So we know those are happening. Those have to
definitely.
happen. Yeah, we figured that out. So those aren't predictions anymore. Those are, hey, they're done already. Nevada, what is your wait? No, you're on your second to last one, right? I still have one more, I believe.
Yeah, I'm on my second to last one right now. I'm going with Bo Atkinson with a sack. Bo Atkinson with a sack on Saturday. I think, he's a guy that's been steadily performing better in practice. They're trusting him more. They're giving him more. I've got Bo Atkinson with one of our 6 sacks. One of the 6 sacks is going to be by a man named Bo.
Well, I have our 6 sacks taking place by only 3 players, 2 from CJ, 2 from Caden, and my final bold prediction for the defensive side of the ball is you just cannot leave Arvell Reese out of defensive bold predictions. The freak show Arvell Reese is going to finish off the sacks with 2, bringing the total to 6. So Arvell Reese with 2 sacks. Nevada, I know you have one more bold prediction, but while you're giving your last bold prediction, I do want to ask who's going to be spying the quarterback more, Caleb Downs or Arvell Reese?
Oh, I think it's going to be both. I think it's going to be both. They're going to be walking Caleb down to that Sam linebacker position, and just based upon stuff. But I mean, it's really going to be Caleb and Arvell primarily, with Sonny doing some of that when those guys decide to blitz, or when they bring overload action from the other side. But I'd say it's going to be pretty split between Caleb and Arvell, and both are very adept at doing it. And both, I think that's a strong suit for those guys, and I think they're ready for the challenge.
Yeah, I do as well. But you got one more bold prediction, or did you just say it and I zoned out?
No, no, I've got it. You did not zone out and miss it. I'm waiting
Let's-
for it. It's a special teams one, special teams edition. Ohio State blocks a kick this week.
Oh,
Ohio
oh,
State blocks a kick this week. So, been spending a little bit of time on the defense, on the special teams, working some new guys on the kick block team, and you might
mm,
see a kick block come on Saturday. So, you know, on the road, nothing takes the crowd out, nothing changes the momentum like a kick block. Look, that could definitely happen.
yeah. I I briefly thought about putting a special teams, a punt return, a kick return, or a block or something like that. But just haven't been too thrilled with we haven't screwed anything up per se, but I haven't seen anything that it gets me super excited about special teams. But this is the turnaround. It happened last year. Hope it happens this year. I hope that comes true as well. No, Nevada, I was spacing out because I got people diving into the statements I make saying I drive at 300 yards, and Roy McElroy does the same thing, 307. So dream time in the chat is fact checking me, making sure that I'm, not lying on live air, and I'm not. I'm not. But that's enough about Devin's golf. We got the Buckeyes heading to Washington. So on offense, I got 4 TDs, 5 being scored total, 4 through the air, 1 with Bo Atkinson. Defense, we got 6 sacks happening, and I have 2 interceptions happening as well. So we'll see. We'll see if some of these bold predictions come through. We'll see if the Buckeyes show up in this road environment. What are they going to do? They're going to come out swinging. They're going to want to shut this crowd down early. So, Nevada, anything to add to what you think we might see? Do you expect Ryan Day to come out slinging the ball, Tennessee game vibes, or are you expecting him? What do you think Ryan Day is going to come out doing?
Yeah, I'd like to say that my heart is saying Tennessee, let her rip tater chip and let's go. You know what I'm saying? But my head is telling me that Ryan's going to be more careful with Julian. That Julian's not Will Howard. Julian's not a guy with 50 starts and 5 years in the program. He's still a young guy, and I'm not sure if Ryan's just there from a trust standpoint yet. But I think they'll throw the ball early, but it won't be the aerial circus like we saw it against Tennessee. I think they'll work him into it with some seam routes to Max Fair, maybe some screen passes, maybe some quick throws to the outside. Try to get him kind of calm down and into a rhythm, and then start hitting on that run game. But I'm just hoping they don't get too stubborn with the run game. And I don't want to be like the old guy that repeats himself, but that is that's a big concern of mine, because that if I've got a criticism of Brian, sometimes he can go there, and we've all seen it, we all know it, when we see it. So I'm just hoping it doesn't take us there, because I think that's playing right into the home crowd like Washington State. And I think the other thing we'll see tempo. We'll see tempo from Ohio State. They're going to try to go fast. That is a great crowd neutralizer when you go up tempo, because the crowd doesn't get a chance to build into the play and into the game, and the defense doesn't get a chance to get exotic with you. They have to stay pretty vanilla. So I think you'll see tempo. I think you'll see silent count, and I hope that good Ryan is there, loose Ryan is there, and we play to our strengths, which is putting the ball up in the air, especially deep. Because anytime JJ is singled on the outside, we should be throwing to him 100% of the time, because that's, as far as I'm concerned, that's open.
Yeah, yeah. That's definitely a concern with the Ryan Day and getting stubborn. And you almost wonder, like last year, you had the Ryan Day Chip Kelly dynamic, right, where Chip was his mentor, and you wonder if Chip had some influence there with maybe not making that happen as much, even though we still saw it happen. One of my fears a little bit is the dynamic between Ryan Day and Hartline being the OC now. How much freedom is Hartline going to have? Is he going to be able to override Day in those situations if Day does get a little bit stubborn? Will Hartline speak up and be like, hey, no, man, we got to get this thing rolling here. The run game ain't working. We got to loosen this defense up a little bit. So, something to keep an eye on. And see how that dynamic may affect it. The other thing is, I have a little bit of hope that Ryan Day lets Julian Sand go a little more, just based off of what he said after the Texas game. But also, there's the side that you can't always listen to what coaches say. So we'll see which way he goes there. Anything to add to that, Nevada?
Yeah, no, it's always so hard, because I know the stuff they're practicing, and I know this, how they're kind of approaching it from that standpoint. But a lot of times, what they practice and what they've really drilled, and then when it gets to game time, man, things can tighten up. But the good news is you've got good weather, so there's no, it's not wind or it's not rain conditions, so you don't have any of those. The elements aren't going to play a factor in this. And you just got to contend with that that home crowd there at Husky Stadium. And it was funny. I was on the board. I was typing. Somebody was like, "Well, it's a good thing this isn't in Seattle because Husky Stadium's not that big." And I'm like, "Hey, Husky Stadium is actually bigger capacity than Seattle, and then the Seahawks." So it's like,
Yeah,
I don't know where this thing started. That Husky Stadium's small. It's not. It's 70,000 people, and it's not the shoe where you've got 105,000 or whatever it is. But man, it's loud. It's loud. You'll see. Like when you go, those people in the Pacific Northwest. We saw it last year at the Oregon game. And everybody that went to the Oregon game talked about how
dude.
how loud the crowd was and stuff. This one will. This is their Super Bowl. Make no mistake about it. We are going to absolutely get their best shot, and this will make if somehow some way they could pull this off, this would absolutely make their program for them. So they're going to pull out every stop to secure the victory, and it's incumbent upon Ohio State just to play as air free as they possibly can and let their athleticism shine.
Yeah, I'm very interested to hear this noise, Nevada, because I went to the first Oregon game last year, and the loudest I have ever heard a stadium was Ohio State's last offensive drive, where they got that false start penalty or the delay of game. They got a couple of those on their last drive. I wouldn't have been able to hear the person beside me, but that stadium there in Autzen, it's like outside there's like a huge dirt mound outside of it, and also everything is just the sound just stays in that stadium. It was so loud. I was like vibrating from the sound. It was just, you could feel how loud it was in there. But I keep being told that the Husky Stadium is louder. It's been louder. It has the record for the loudest stadium at 133 something decibels. So very interested to hear that aspect of it. But Nevada, I gave my score prediction yesterday. I got a 38-17 victory for the Buckeyes. That's what I see happening. I see it being 38-10, and that Washington goes down and scores towards the end of the game, so not really that close of a game. That's my feel. You said might put it on the board tomorrow. You might hint at it tonight. How you feeling? You feeling like this is a good time to let people know, not your prediction, but tell them what the score is going to be? Just go ahead
I,
and let them know what it's going to be.
I got it at 45-17. I got it for
Okay.
45-17. And I think the game could stretch out a little bit at the end. Um, so maybe at halftime it's, you know, 21-7 or something. I mean, I just think it's going to be one of those games where, eventually Ohio State's going to get theirs, and I think Washington's going to really struggle to do it. And if they turn the ball over one, I think this, like I said, I don't think this game's a close game. I don't see this. This is not a one score game. This is not a we need a field goal at the end game. I mean, you think about the Oregon team we played last year. The Oregon team we played last year was the favorite to win the national championship. And
Mm-hmm.
that was
Yeah.
with a lot of great players, and this is a very average. This is a Washington team whose peak is maybe 8 wins, and they're probably the chalky is probably 6 or 7 or something like that. So this is not a great Washington team. Um, Second point, this is just kind of an aside, but like Alton Stadium compared to Husky Stadium, Alton Stadium only holds 54,000 people.
Oh,
So
wow. Yeah.
this they hold 70 at Husky. So like, not that always foots to noise or whatever it is, but imagine Alton Stadium with 15,000 more people in there, and like that's kind of what you're going to get on Saturday with when the Husky fans have hope and full of life, and you just don't want to get that crowd going and stuff like that because it can really I was there, I think it was 86 when we got down like 24-0 at halftime and just couldn't, or 21 nothing or whatever. It was bad. We just couldn't come back from it. But when things start spiraling there, man, it can get out of control really quickly.
Yeah. I'm excited to hear that. I'm bringing my little brother with me. His first football game ever was the Cotton Bowl last year, so that was the experience he got, which was, I don't know if he'll ever top that because he doesn't go. If he only goes if I drag him along. I'm also dragging my dad to
Oh
this
wow.
game. He does not watch college football. This is his first college football game ever. He has no idea what to expect. So part of me is like super excited to hear the noise, but I'm even going to be more excited to watch the look on my dad's face when he sees how crazy people are about college football because he doesn't understand. He's not in this world, but he tries to be. And my Aunt Chris is coming as well. Shout out Aunt Chris if you're watching. She normally is. So I'm bringing my family along for the experience. It's going to be a heck of a time. I'm pumped. And then me and B Moses, Nevada, we heading to the Wisconsin game. So got some exciting times in my life coming up. I'm pumped for it.
Well, has your dad been there when you hit these 300-yard drives that are past Rory McIlroy's and stuff like that? Does he have, does
Yeah.
he want, Rory McIlroy's dad bet him with the books to win like 3 majors before the age of 27 or something. Got like 1,000 to 1 odds when he was like 15 years old or something like that. Has your dad placed any prop bets on you to win any senior PGA Tour events or anything like that? Does he have the same type of
No,
confidence that Rory's dad had in him?
no, I don't think so. But I did get my driving ability from my dad when he was younger. He can still smash the ball for his age, but that's where I got it from. But again, let me make this clear. My my drive does carry 300 yards, probably on average, right? It just does. Like I smacked one 320 today. I also smacked one 275. Like it just switches. But I golfed 19 over the other day, right? I doubt Roy at my age. Well, he is my age, I think. I don't know how old he is, but he's not golfing 19 over, man. I three putted 10 holes. So my short game is not that. I don't have it mentally. I don't have it, Nevada. Like there's days like today, 1 over after 18. I don't know that I can play much better than that. So, my dad doesn't have that faith in me to go do that. Uh, but that's okay.
Well, I
That's
hope
all
this
right.
weekend brings you guys closer together then. You know what I'm saying? That I hope that you can be like, Dad, I want you to understand your disappointment in me as a golfer. I want to bring it together on the college football, and hopefully you guys bond
You know,
on Saturday.
now that you bring it up, when I get off here, I'm gonna call my dad. I'm actually getting start kind of pissed that he doesn't have this faith in me. To be
Yeah, I
honest with
know.
you, you
Exactly.
know, I
Exactly.
think you're right.
Exactly.
He's my dad.
Yes.
He should
You should
support my
you should
dreams.
support it. So,
Put your house up and bet that
yeah.
I'm going to win 3 majors, Dad, if you
Yeah.
really actually believe in your son. But if
Yeah,
you don't
exactly.
and you don't love me, then don't
Yeah.
do it.
I can hit over 300 yards in the air, Dad. I'm like I can throw the football up that mountain.
I see the mountains over there.
Uh,
Bet you I throw this football over it. Golly, man, we're getting out of control. That's a sign. Time to go. But good times, man. Good times. Great to be a Buckeye, defending national champs, #1 team in the country. Julian saying for a couple more years. JJ Smith again next year. Stupid. Young talent that's making an impact this year already, an elite recruiting class that's only going to get better, more offers still going out, an absolutely elite coaching staff with the head coach that has evolved and changed with the times and become a better coach. That's all we can ask for. He still has things that I believe he's going to evolve and change. But he's winning football games. We got a super chat here. Ian, thanks for the $4.99. Like Time Work Media no longer talks about Tennessee since we beat them. Now all the talk is about Washington's big three. No mention of JJ, uh, Carnell Tate, Downs, Reese, etc. They hate OSU. Very good point. That's something I wanted to mention. They're really pushing that. They're really focusing on what Washington has done so far in the season against nobody. They're really diving into that, but it's just a way to build this game up, get more viewership, get more everything. It's a show. College football for these national media outlets, it's a show, and they will try to put on a show to get the most numbers that they can. And I think a lot of people are falling into that. I am not. The Buckeyes need to show up for sure. They can't sleepwalk through this game. This isn't Grambling for sure, but Washington's just way over talented. Nevada, or not, under talented compared to Ohio State. Nevada, you got any final thoughts? And we'll get out of here.
Yeah, no, I think, I think it's very popular to pick against Ohio State because people know that fires up the Ohio State faithful, and everybody else gets a big kick out of the fact that they're predicting #1 to go down. And if you're wrong, nobody's mad at you, and if you're right, you can just look like you're the prophet of profit. And so I think it's just kind of a low risk, high return type of position for these talking heads to take. I don't think they even really believe it. This is a supremely talented Ohio State team. Will they have a close game this year? Yeah, there will be close games this year. It just won't be on Saturday.
Yeah. By the way, UT is Texas, not Tennessee. So whoops there. Ian reminded me of that. But yeah,
And
talked
time
about.
work was clockwork. That was clockwork, just like clockwork.
Listen, I tried to end the show and the super chat came in, so I was already
Uh,
checked out the show,
no,
man. I was already
I
checked
understand.
out.
It's kind of like when you're golfing and when you're like, and so today you were one over par, but the other day you were 19 over par.
Yeah, no doubt. If you take away anything from this show, please understand that I shot one over today.
And
We
hit
need
the
to let
ball
people know.
over 300 yards carry,
Over
over 300.
Call Roy and tell him.
We need to get somebody out there with like a measuring stick. We need to have like some sort of golf video with Devin or something like that.
Yo,
And
listen.
I want to see you're not playing with those like noodle balls or something. I want a regulation ball.
Yeah.
I want to get like some sort of thing out there where we get, and none of the grease on the club. I want to see this is a regulation club, regulation ball, and we're gonna put Devin out on the driving range, and we're gonna see if he hits the ball over 300 yards carry. That's what we're looking.
Listen.
So I'm going to put Steely Matt out there, 300 yards away, waiting out there. We'll see if the ball flies over his head, and we'll see what goes on with that.
Listen, I'm going to add something else to this story, and everybody's going to be like, oh, dude's definitely capping now for sure. I was at Top Golf in Tampa this past weekend. At Top Golf, I didn't bring my own driver. I used the driver in there. I hit it over the net several times, out of the back, over the net several times.
Were
The
you on the
employees
third?
watched me do it.
Were you on the third deck? Were you on the second deck, or were you on the bottom? That's the
No,
big
I was
question.
about halfway down on the ground. No, I was on the top. I was on the third level, third
Okay,
floor.
you're okay. So it's a third floor launch over the thing right there. Okay. See, there's always something more to the story. Like I said, we're gonna get out there. We're gonna get out there with a little range finder, some fluorescent pink balls, so we can see how far they go, and we're gonna measure it out there, and we'll see how Devin does.
Yeah, Craig, it was in Brandon, I do believe. I was right next to Ruskin, so I was in Ruskin, whatever one's closest to there. Yeah, Nevada, we're gonna have to find out. I think that we're building a relationship as friends, so eventually, we connected for the national title game. Next time we connect, it needs to be for a Friday golf session, and
Oh
then we
no.
go to a Buckeye game
I
on
I I
Saturday.
I suck
And
so bad though. Like I can't
yeah,
like honestly, my carry on my drive, honestly, 200, maybe 210. Like
but that's
I don't
far
hit
enough.
I don't hit
It's
the
about
ball
having
far.
fun.
I just don't hit the ball far. And I don't know why, because I'm 6'3", you've met me. I'm a big guy. Like
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I should be able to hit the ball further, and I don't know why I can't hit. So maybe we need a lesson. Maybe Devin gives Nevada a lesson. We run a little video on that. And if I'm hitting it over 300 yards, I can like I mean, that would be something else there.
Yeah,
Wow. This
yeah.
is awesome. This is great.
I play the buddies I play with though, like I outdrive everybody. My buddies that I play with anyway, and they beat me most of the time. So it's not about how far you can hit it. It's the short game. The putting is where you make your money, right? So you don't got to hit it far, but we do it for fun. We do it for fun.
Yes,
I can
we
play the
do.
black tees. You can play whatever tees you want,
I
and we'll go from there.
I'm like white. I'm like white. I'm like white tees. So like
All right.
I'm not the gold. I'm not the gold tees.
Oh,
I'm
not the
def-
gold, not the
and
gold.
I'm not the gold. I'm not blue and I'm not black. I'm white. I got to be honest
Okay,
with you.
all right.
Black tees are really far back.
Yeah, it's the pro tees. Yeah, they're
Yeah,
back.
those are
Yeah,
back. Yeah, yeah.
yeah. I like it. I played from the golds today. My one over was from the golds, not the blacks. So just
Okay.
let me
Okay.
make that clear. Yeah, yeah, make
Fair
that
enough.
clear. But
Fair
anyway,
enough.
I hope you guys learned a lot about my golf game today. That's the number one reason we had the show. I want you guys to hopefully remember this moment. And if my dad won't support me, maybe you guys will. So
Yes.
anyway, appreciate you guys. Hit that like button, guys. Get ready for the game on Saturday. It's going to be exciting. Look out. Might pop on for a live stream while I'm there. Give everybody a little bit of shot of what's going on in person there. So stay tuned for that. But we appreciate you guys. Appreciate the support, the super chats, all that stuff. God bless you guys. Go Buckeyes. OH.
IO.